Welcome back, everybody, to the Cartoons and Chaos podcast. I'm your host, that guy Jordan, and we are officially back from hiatus. We got a new place, new setup, same chaos. Glad we're situated in our new place and everything like that. I do apologize that I've been on hiatus. It's just been the move it was very tiring. I needed to take a break and everything. I needed to take a little mental break too, just to get my mind right, get back going to the high horse and everything. But we are back again with episode 8 of the Cartoons and Chaos podcast. So let's jump right into it. Anyways, we're going to start off with, so as everybody knows, Naruto is one of my favorite animes of all time. Today, we are going to be ranking the Akatsuki by plot impact. So basically, what that means is that for all you Naruto fans out there, today we're ranking the Akatsuki from the least impactful to the most impactful based on how much they actually shape the Naruto storyline. This is not a power ranking whatsoever, so no like feats or anything like that. This is about their importance to the plot. So let's start off and let's get it done at number 10 with Zetsu. So black and white Zetsu. Um, I like they're impactful to the story to me only comes in hand as far as like, okay, you have basically they're a spy, which I understand. They get to go any and everywhere. You have the white Zetsus who were basically the army of the Great Ninja War, and then you have Black Zetsu who's been pulling the strings from the very beginning. But overall impact, except for those series, doesn't really sit well with me. I feel like it's least impactful. Like this character was the least impactful as far as everything else. While White and Black Zetsu had utility, but outside of the big twist with Black Zetsu in Shippuden's end game, as far as like being Kayuga's like son or whatever the hell that was, they were basically the Akatsuki janitors. One really important moment, but spent 90% of the series being weird plant spies. That's basically all it was. So that's where I get it from. That's where I'm at with it. So then we're going to move on to 9. We're going to talk about Hidan. Ooh, I know this might get some flack. Like everybody's going to be like, what? Hidan is not impactful. He's iconic for killing Asuma. I feel like that is the iconic moment, and then he helped with getting the Two Tails. I feel like that's the only impact he had to the overall story. Basically, Hidan was more of a personal villain for Shikamaru's growth and his arc as to becoming a shinobi. And I feel like with that being said, that's as far as Hidan's story really goes. Um, I mean, great arc altogether, but that's where that's where it goes. Because right next to him at number 8, you have Kakuza. Had a cool design. He had some good fights, and the only fight we actually got to see him in was against Kakashi and Naruto going all out. We know that he fought the first Hokage, so he's been alive for a long time. Um, he gave us the Akatsuki money hustle type of thing. We knew what type of guy he was. He was the secretary. He was basically like, hey, we need money. We need funds to do what we need to do. So let me go get that. Like, I'll give him that. But aside from that, he's basically here and gone. That's basically all it was. So with that being said, I mean, that's where he is. So then we come to number 7. Number 7 is Conan. I love Conan to death, the winged angel, all of that. Loyal to Nagato, the tragic backstory with Yahiko, knowing that, she was a founding member of the Akatsuki, one of the founding members. And I think aside from those type of things, she didn't really have no impact to the overall storyline as far as the story goes. Like there is no overall no really overall big steps for her. Because for Conan, the biggest thing for her was her battle with Obito. I feel like that's where I think that's the biggest impact she had to that. Honestly, she lost because of plot, because she realistically won, but because of plot, she lost. And that's about it for Conan. That's as far as it gets for her. So that's where she is. Then we have number 6. We have Datara. Datara is a very interesting. The art is Explosion King. Huge player in Gaara's capture. Fought Sasuke. and he made big waves early on in Shippuden. I mean, especially like fighting the One Tail, or yeah, fighting the One Tail, yeah, fighting the One Tail, which is Gaara, and then I think he single-handedly defeated the Three Tails, and that really sealed the case. Like he might be one of the stronger Akatsuki members there. But I mean, his fight against Sasuke left a lot to be desired. But then again, plot, because Sasuke technically should have lost that fight, but we're not going to talk about it. Whatever. But for Datara, that's where he is. He's at 6. Solid, still good. Then we have number 5, which is Sasori. Sasori is a top 5 player in the game. He's the puppet master who gave us one of the most strategic fights in Naruto with Sakura and Lady Chiyo. His death revealed Akatsuki's darker plans, setting the tone for the war ahead. And not only that, I think we have to realize that I think he killed the third was it Mizukage? Was it the third? It's not Mizukage. It's whatever Gaara's, like, whatever their Kage is in the Sand Village. I think he killed the third one, I believe. So there's that, and he's a very strong opponent when it comes to his puppets. So like he's strong. Sasori was there with Datara in the capture of Gaara, so we saw that. But I think it gave us one of the most iconic fights in Shippuden. Like, if I had to do a top 10 fight, Sasori versus Lady Chiyo and Sakura from Shippuden would probably be in my top 10 fights of all time. It has to be, I gotta go, like, I gotta say that. But yeah, that's where he is. Because at number 4, we have Kisame. Come on. Kisame, hands down, this is the tailless-tailed beast we're talking about here. Now, I don't really know much about what Kisame was up to. We see a little bit of his backstory, a little bit. He used to be part of the Seven Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist, all that stuff like that. He rocks with Sahara. He's very loyal to Itachi. He handles some of his most dangerous missions and was one of the most consistent presences in the Akatsuki roster all the way up until he fought Might Guy. I think the thing of it is that with Kisame is that he's very dangerous, but I don't think we get a. I don't know. I gotta rewatch Kisame's highlights here and there, but I don't feel like he had a lot of good highlights. But he was still dangerous to a sense. Like he's fought a lot of good people to where he's still dangerous. But that's where Kisame is gonna lie for me. At number 3, it's Itachi. We know his overall impact to the storyline as a double agent for the Hidden Leaf Village, and his overall impact to the entire Naruto story that shapes Sasuke's arc as well. It's Itachi. Itachi is the guy who infiltrated the Akatsuki, and on top of that was giving information back to the Hidden Leaf Village. And on top of that, he knew his limits and everything like that, but he also knew that he had to stop the Akatsuki when he got, reanimated, and he knew he was straight on business. It was timing, it was all of that. So that's what we have for Itachi. Itachi's overall storyline is basically one part of the Naruto story as a whole, and it has to be said that yes, he is top 3. At number 2, you have Nagato, Pain, the face of the Akatsuki for most of Shippuden. He destroyed Konoha, gave Naruto his biggest test in leadership and ideology. Because the simple fact of the matter is that Pain, going through what he went through for Nagato and everything, with the Rinnegan, doing what he had to do, he was a force to be reckoned with. To get a jump by 6 people who can see throughout are connected. That's insane. That's an insane ass whooping. But because of the simple fact of how the story shaped Pain, you kind of have to feel for him. But the thing of it is, what I hate about the story, but I love about the story too, is that what Pain didn't know is that he was being manipulated by the one and only number 1 Akatsuki member, Obito Uchiha, or as we know him as, Toby. Oh my gosh, the chills. This man was pulling the strings for most of everything in the series post Kakashi Gaiden. The fourth Great Ninja War doesn't even happen without him. And that's the whole thing. So I get a lot of flack for this because it's like, is Obito realistically like an actual Akatsuki member, or was he the one pulling the strings? And it's both. He was pulling the strings from the very beginning. He made the seeds him and Madara until Madara's death, but for the most part, Obito was doing what he needed to do to make sure the seeds of war was planted. And after the what was it? After the Five Kage summit, we really saw those seeds really get into there and go from what it was into what the story progressed into. So with that being said, I mean, you guys got to let me know. Do you guys think my list is right, wrong? What do you guys think? Because like, I really want to hear your opinions. Who do you guys think is your top 10, um, Akatsuki members in your ranking? Let me know in the comments. So we're gonna move on. So we're gonna move on to the top five Jetix shows of all time. So I don't know if you guys remember Jetix, but Jetix was basically what Disney XD is now. But Jetix was in this little flux where it made a couple of shows themselves, but they also brought in some anime shows and they got the rights to some classic shows. But I wanted to focus on the shows that they created themselves and go from that top five list. Now, my top five list is a little different because it's very hard to really narrow down what Jetix really was. But for the most part, Jetix had these shows and they were goated. Yin Yang Yo is at number five. I know it should be higher, and honestly, it could be higher if it wasn't for these other four shows on the list. But Yin Yang Yo is still in the top five. The martial arts bunny siblings who were funnier than they had to be. It was insane. I think they was fighting like a cockroach army type of thing. The panda was their master. The show was peak. The show was ahead of its time as far as like what it was and everything. And I genuinely enjoyed the show. I genuinely enjoyed watching Yin Yang Yo. And I wish they would bring it back for a reboot. I would genuinely watch that. Okay, so then you have my number four spot would go to Puka. Oh my gosh, Puka was the silent comedy gold. The humor still holds up, and Puka simping for Garu was always hilarious. I mean, Puka was stronger than him. He was the ninja, but she was still stronger than him and everybody else, and she would not let anyone get in the way of her love for him. And it was kind of cute and adorable. Maybe one day we'll get some more shorts of them. Like, that was a good show. Then we have at number three, Witch. Yes, I love Witch. It's magical girl excellence with surprisingly very deep lore. That show had some really deep lore for a kid's show. And I think it had like, I believe it had like two or three seasons. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to go and see. But it was a very good show that you should definitely check out. Then at number two was Power Rangers SPD. Now, a lot of people argue here. A lot of people argue here that Power Rangers SPD isn't realistically a Jetix show, blah blah blah. But I think for the most part, the post Saban era, where it was like the Disney era of Power Ranger shows, premiered on Jetix. So I want to say, like, with that being said, it's really hard to have that argument because like Jetix had all the Power Rangers shows for a long time, like for the Disney era, and up until they acquired the rights to the older Power Rangers shows. So we're talking like when Jetix first came out with the Power Rangers, they had the rights to the Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD. I want to say what was after SPD? Mystic Force, and then it was after Mystic Force that Jetix became something else, and then that's when Operation Overdrive and Power Rangers before went on to something else. That's a whole different episode though. But back to this one. We are going to talk about SPD. SPD was a great Power Rangers show, and it premiered on Jetix. I remember watching it on Jetix. I don't know if anybody else watched it on Jetix, but I remember when I was watching it. This is an absolute peak time for Power Rangers. I want to say this was 2000. Yes, 2005. I can tell you it was 2005. So I was nine. I was 9 years old when the show came out, and you had Jack, Sky, Bridge, Z, and Sid. And then you had Donkey Kruger, Cat, and Boom, and then you had the the Nubian Empire with Emperor Grum. This was a peak time to be a Power Rangers fan for SPD. I'll have to do an episode on Power Rangers by itself because we can go over the lore and everything like that from where it's based off of. But for now, that is my number two. But my number one show on Jetix is going to have to go to the one, the only Super Robot Monkey Team Hyper Force Go. This was a peak Jetix energy. This was the animation style, the villains, the robot monkey team. Like, oh my gosh. And can we talk about like, okay, what a lot of people don't know is that the human voice actor, like the main character, I think his name was Jiro or something like that. His voice actor is actually Greg. I can't take his last name, but he's Beast Boy. So that's some lore drop right there that Beast Boy's voice actor was in the show, and I just love it. But it was a great show to watch on Jetix. You should guys, if you guys have never heard of the show or never seen the show, just go look up Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. It's somewhere out there. I can tell you, you could probably watch it on some of these sites or anything like that. It is a very, very good show. So, yeah, there it is. This is what it is. So, with Jetix. Okay, so now we're going to jump to the top 10 kids WB shows of all time. If you guys don't know what kids WB is, let me explain it to you. Kids WB was the block on the Warner Brother programs where it was for kids shows. Most of the time they were the Saturday morning cartoons that started like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and they went on all the way till noon. Now here to me, this list right here signifies my childhood in one group setting. And I want to point out that, I want to point out that these shows right here really realistically made my childhood. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So at number 10, we have Mucha Lucha. Now, Mucha Lucha, oh my gosh, Lucha Lucha is this was a pro Mexican wrestling show. It was about wrestlers who had powers. It was a really good show, really pro Mexican. We love it. I grew up watching that in Arizona, so of course there's that. So most of my Hispanic friends love the show. We always talked about it, always talk about what characters we wanted to be. Now here's the cool thing about this show. A lot of people will tell you like this is a Cartoon Network show, but it actually first aired on Kids WB, and it was then syndicated onto Cartoon Network because Cartoon Network had a relationship with Warner Brothers and all that. So of course, they shared the same things, but we have to go from there. And I think that that is a show that a lot of people should definitely go back and watch. At number 9, we have Lunatics. If you guys don't know what Lunatics is, it's basically if you give Bugs Bunny superpowers and his gang, and that's what this show is. It's called Lunatics Unleashed. It was a great show. It had 2 seasons. It left us on a cliffhanger. I wish it would have left us on a season, like it would have gave us another season, but it didn't. But anyways, that is my number 9. At number 8, at number 8, it's kind of hard because like I don't know how I would where I would put this it like other ways and either way it goes. But it's gonna be the Justice League or Justice League Unlimited shows. Now, the reason why it's so high up is only because like these shows belong on the cartoon side of the spectrum, or the Cartoon Network side of the spectrum. But of course you still have, Kids WB that played it. So I'm putting it there because it was part of what I watched. That's what I wanted to go with. I love this show and this is where it's going to be. Then, let me see, where was I? I was at, was that 10? I already said, what? Oh, where am I at? You see, this is why I need a list of stuff. I think I'm at number 7 now. Yes. So at 7, we're going to put the Men in Black show on there. The Men in Black show was funny. It was based off the Men in Black movies. I don't think we had, I don't think it had a season 2. I think we only had 1 season. It's still a really good show. Still really cool cartoon. So I would go ahead and check that out if I was you guys. At number 6, the Jackie Chan Adventures show. Come on, man. You gotta go Jackie Chan Adventures. Jackie Chan Adventures is one of the best shows to ever come out. Thank you, Jackie Chan, for voicing Jackie Chan Adventures and doing the choreography for it with no stunt doubles. This is a man, a legend, and a myth. We can't get enough of Jackie Chan. We need to appreciate what he's brought to us. At number 5, at number 5, it's going to be Shaolin Showdown. Shaolin Showdown, yes, did it exist with Cartoon Network as well? Another show that did that, yes, but it's still one of the best shows of all time as far as cartoons goes. It's going to be a very hard. You got to do. Shaolin Showdown is a very hard cartoon to really argue with. Like, did it have impact? But because it did. it had a lot of good impact. It had a lot of good lessons into it. And it was a really great action show for a 20-minute, block of cartoon. So we love to see it. Then at number four, number four is a little hard because the way the show came out earlier than Kids WB, but it's still there. We're gonna have to give it to Batman Beyond. I think Batman Beyond is a Kids WB show because that's where I first watched it, and that's where it's going to go for me. I know it came on in '99 or whatever, but I think it's okay. I think it's acceptable that Batman Beyond be on this list. This is the future Batman, Terry McGinnis, and how he's patrolling Neo Gotham as the new Batman. And I think this is a good show that we could really put here. At number three, At number three, we have to put Animaniacs. Animaniacs is another Kids WB classic show that show I think these two brothers and a sister doing just wacky stuff. Honestly, I think it was way too ahead of its time. I think like some of the humor in it was just insane. But either way it goes, I mean, we love to see it. Then at number two, I'm gonna go ahead for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Spectacular Spider-Man. I think the Spectacular Spider-Man the number two is a good one to put it at because it was a really great show. It showcased things that we love to see in Spider-Man. It was a rarely good. It didn't miss. It didn't no episode miss with it. And it premiered on Kids WB. It might have been part of something else, but I think it mainly was Kids WB. And at number one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Come on. Yu-Gi-Oh came on at 11 o'clock with two episodes, 11 and 11:30. I will never forget the time where I would wake up every day. I could miss everything else, but at 11 o'clock, on Saturdays, I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, following the Battle City, finals, Battle City tournament. I was following the Waking Dragons arc. I followed it every single Saturday. For kids, here's the thing. I will say that with that Yu-Gi-Oh programming, for kids was like in control. So of course, if you really like Yu-Gi-Oh and want to watch like the anime version of Yu-Gi-Oh where it's a little bit more brutal, go ahead and do that. But for a kid show, there it is. That's where it was. So yeah, that's my top 10. Um, let me know what you guys watch on Saturday morning because I really want to know. So yeah. But that's my list. But now I want to hear from y'all. What's your Akatsuki ranking? What's your Jetix Mount Rushmore? And your Kids WB favorites. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch. Don't forget, don't forget to follow me on Twitch at Cartoons and Chaos Podcast. Sub to the YouTube of the same name. And then check out the merch store at cartoonsandchaos.com. We've got anime and cartoon shirts and phone cases with weekly drops. I actually have not dropped anything new this week. I will be dropping something new next week, so stay tuned for that. The next episode, we are going to dive into a underrated anime, which is going to be called Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. A lot more people have been asking me to do this video for Iron-Blooded Orphans, to do a breakdown of the anime and to kind of just go over what this Gundam anime represents. And I'm ecstatic to do it. Then, I am sorry. I am sorry, guys. Like, I am so sorry. My nerd is coming out here, but I am tired of being on TikTok and seeing, like, these hot takes for Pokemon and everything like that. And they're just absolutely wrong. So I am going to give you guys my hot takes for Pokemon all throughout anime and games and everything like that next week as well. And then last, but of course not least, we are going to talk about the top 10 Power Ranger shows of all time. Yes, I'm tired of them too. I gotta tell you guys, like, as a definitive Power Rangers fan, Jaden is not the greatest Red Ranger of all time. Stop with the cat. Jaden Sheba is not the greatest Red Ranger of all time, and I will tell you guys why in my next episode. I can't wait. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking with me. I do apologize. I'll make sure to be back on the grind and everything like that. So please don't bite my head off. I know this episode was a little bit shorter this week. I just wanted to get back in the swing of things. Next week, we're going to have a very long discussion and we're going to go from there. Hey, you guys be safe out there. Thank you guys again for being the fans of the Cartoons and Chaos podcast. And hey, become part of the family, share, like everything. We're everywhere. Hey, thank you again. Have a good night and have a great week.